Well, good evening. My name is Dennis Halverson. I'm here tonight representing the Charlevoix Area Chamber of Commerce to our candidate forum. The Chamber just kind of got re-involved in these last year at the high school and had a great turnout there. And as a board, we thought we would, again, provide this opportunity to our voters to come in and hear what the candidates for tonight's City Council chairs. And if you haven't had the opportunity, there's cards in the back. You can write questions out, and those will get, when we get to that stage in the format, will be asked of the candidates. Just also at this time like to thank our partners tonight, the Chamber's partners, which would include the Charlevoix Courier and of course the Charlevoix Public Library. The three agencies went in tonight and spent a fair amount of time putting this together, and we appreciate the partnership that we were able to accomplish here tonight. And also I'd like to just just kind of mention the fact that having myself sat in one of these chairs before is in a similar forum, that our form of government really relies on people to get involved. And I'm here to tell you sometimes that is not easy to get involved, but our whole process demands that people get off the couch, and in this case come down to City Hall and grab a petition and fill it out and turn it in. So whether you agree with these folks tonight or don't, or support them or don't, I think they deserve at least an acknowledgement from the room of their effort and energy and enthusiasm, and also their interest in serving our community in this capacity. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our moderator tonight, Scott Ledour, PhD in political science up at NCMC. He will be refereeing tonight's agenda. So without anything further,
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you again for the opportunity to moderate here, and thank you to our candidates for coming, and thank you importantly to all of you for coming tonight for this forum here about the Charlevoix City Council races. I do want to remind the audience this is a forum, right? The point of this is to shed light and not create friction, and so we will allow our candidates to speak on their beliefs on the issues, and then we will have at least 30 minutes or so at the end of the evening between about 7:30 and 8 o'clock where you can come speak to them one-on-one, ask a question that you felt needed to be asked but wasn't, or question them further on an answer that they gave today, right? So there'll be plenty of time for that later this evening. The format and the direction that the rest of the forum will go and will be as follows. Each candidate will have a minute to make an opening statement and introduce themselves to the audience. And then we will cycle through a number of questions that were developed by the sponsors of the event, as well as questions that I have here that you filled out earlier this evening. And we'll try to ask as many as we can. We try to do about 50 minutes or so kind of question and answer. Each candidate will have about 2 minutes to answer each question. And right around 7:25, 7:35 or so, we'll allow each candidate to sum up for a minute for you, and then we'll break for the meet and greet and kind of audience participation with the candidates. And so that will be how the evening will go today. We will kind of rotate through the candidates so everyone has a chance to go first and to go last and to be in the middle. And so without further ado, we'll start with Greg, who will give a 1-minute introduction. We'll move on down the table to Aaron, and then we'll begin with the first question of the evening. So Greg.
Good evening. Thank you for attending tonight. I have lived here for over 40 years, and I have never been more excited about the prospect of Charlevoix's success than I am right now. That excitement has instilled in me a strong desire to serve my community in the 3rd Ward of Charlevoix City Council person. I believe I have the right balance of experience and community relationships to provide a valuable input to any challenges that our community faces. In order to continue our success, we need to continue promoting year-round connections in our community. And to do that, we need to create a positive working environment for our local businesses. We also need to listen to the needs of our year-round residents to improve their connection with the community. And I believe currently we are having great success in our efforts to make our community better for visitors, resorters, and locals. As your 3rd Ward City Councilman, I will help keep this positive momentum going. Please vote Greg Bryan, 3rd Ward City Council this November. Thank you.
To Leon.
Hi, Leon Perron. I'm running for my third term as council member for Second Ward. I'm looking forward to working with staff and my fellow council members to keep the city moving smoothly and efficiently.
Scott?
Hello, my name is Scott Woody. I am a 5-year Charlevoix resident. I moved here because of the airport, and I am running for the 3rd Ward. And I believe a fundamental disagreement in the way the council has been operated, and I think that it's very evident by all the conflict and all the tension. And I worked with the city for 2 years on budgets and in a department head, so I believe I have a unique experience in being on city council. Thank you.
And to Aaron.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you for coming out and taking the time out of all your busy schedules to get to know the candidates tonight who are running for to represent you. I am running for my 2nd term as your 1st Ward representative. It's been a pleasure learning how the city works, helping make decisions to move forward, and also setting goals for the future. I'll give a brief background for any of you I haven't had the opportunity to meet. I'm a Charlevoix graduate, a graduate of Grand Valley. Upon graduation, I wanted to move back and make a career here where I call home. I was able to do that. I bought a home downtown in 2012, and my business partners and I opened a restaurant here in 2014. It's a pleasure for my wife and my daughter, soon to be a 2nd daughter, to call this place home. I look forward to helping Charlevoix move forward in the way it needs to build a positive community for their future and the generations thereafter. So I'm excited to be up here again and look forward to working with the rest of our council to move in the right direction.
All right. If we could ask the first question of the evening, that would be to Leon to answer first. What's the most surprising thing that you've learned during your campaign, or what have you been hearing from the voters as you go out and talk to people in the run-up to the election? So first to Leon and then to the rest going down the table, ending with Greg.
Okay, currently, sad to say, I've heard very little. I've not been contacted by any of my constituents about any issue. I've more friends and acquaintances, but of course the big debate over conflicts of interest, that's been an interest to everybody. Other than that, I mean, people are just generally ask questions about the road construction or maybe something going on in the parks. So it's been pretty quiet, I would say.
Scott?
Yes, as Leon stated, and I did in my opening statement, the conflict issue that we have, I believe there is a fundamental difference. How government is operated and how business is operated, and they do not mix, and that's very disappointing. Even to the point where our community had a letter to the editor by a college professor that specializes in that. And I found it very disappointing. That's another reason why I decided to run.
On that topic, I'm in the same camp as Leon, really. I've heard very little. It's surprised me in 2 years of experience now on council how few real calls I get. So I'd urge the community and the citizens to engage us a little more, if I may, and ask the questions of what you're seeking, what you want to see out of your representatives, and the direction you want to see the community move towards. The questions I get are on the infrastructure, kind of the what's next on that agenda, on the parks, what we're doing to improve those, and obviously on how council's interacting and how we're working to move forward in a positive way. So other than that, not much.
Greg?
Well, it is early in the campaign and we haven't got revved up yet, and the road construction, of course, has been the biggest issue, but I think after a couple of days we all got used to it, and everybody I've heard has been pretty positive about it. And as the other candidates have said, the fact that we haven't heard much negativity from the people that we interact with, I think speaks positively of the work the council's been doing, despite the fact that they might disagree on some smaller issues. I think downtown is as vibrant as it's been in my 50 years in the community, and I'm excited to help that move along in the same direction. So,
Thank you. All right, so the next question will be to Scott first, right? What lessons would you say need to be learned from the last few years of city politics? What would you distill from the last 5 to 7 years or so and say, these are lessons that the city or city leadership needs to learn?
Well, a big thing, and I learned it myself going from business to government, is the big difference. And the way government functions, government works a lot slower than business. And I truly believe that these conflicts that we've had have really stifled the city in moving forward. That's pretty much it.
Okay, Aaron?
I would say one of the lessons I've taken from the last 2 years and the 2 years prior, once I had moved back and started getting involved in the community to learn more about it, knowing I wanted to open a business here, was, differing opinions are healthy, and especially on a board, because you need those to find compromise in decisions for the benefit of your community, whether it's a smaller board or city council. The way we interact with each other, the way we interact with the other governing bodies, that shapes us, but it reflects on the community. So I'd say what I've learned is it's good to have differing opinions. How we interact is what we need to keep in mind, because that's how we're going to move forward.
And Greg?
well, I've been paying attention to city council politics since I was 12 years old, and the problems that we've had in the 60s and the 70s and 80s are pretty much the same problems we've had now. My experience as a realtor working with businessmen around the county is that our city unfortunately has developed a reputation as being unfriendly to business. And I don't know what's the matter with success. I don't know why people in our community take it out and find people that are successful as a bad thing, okay? I thought the council was going in the right direction until we had the fireplace fiasco. And I think that sent us back to the 60s. I think despite the perceived ethics problem that's been created at the council, I think overall they've been doing an excellent job. I mean, if you look at the record, they're 70% of the time they agree unanimously. The times they do disagree, it's pretty much focused on one individual, and I think it's time for people to stop taking out their personality conflicts and get to work on something that we can all appreciate and be proud of.
And lastly to Leon.
I think the biggest lessons or issues I've seen have been a matter of trust. And, having people respect each other and respect that there's different opinions. And to be able to work with that honestly. And not to feel that you cannot trust what the actions might be of your fellow members of the council when the communication is proved to go in a different direction where you thought there may be trust. That's very troubling. So I just think openness and a respect for each other is probably the biggest, most important thing we can accomplish or strive for.
Thank you. The next question goes to Aaron first. The city is dealing with a short-term rental issue within the city, and the various parts of city government are debating how to address this best in the future. I wonder if each candidate could give us a little bit of their thoughts on how best to handle the issue of short-term rentals in Charlevoix, starting with Aaron and then moving to Greg.
That's actually something I've been engaged in working on in a few communities, and taking a lot of steps to learn more on with the Michigan Municipal League, what they have to offer. It's definitely something Charlevoix faces to bring families back, to help with our schools. I think one thing we can do is be, on the forefront of helping developers in our zoning regulations, the city as a whole, our leaders learning those. So when these developers come forward with questions and looking for areas that they might be able to form housing and the rules and regulations surrounding it, being in the know on that to assist them. I'm seeing that be one way other communities can bring new housing, into their area.
Great.
Could you repeat that question? Because it sounded like Aaron was talking about workforce housing and not short-term rentals.
Yeah.
Good point, I was.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so the question has to do with short-term rentals, right, within and around Charlevoix.
Thank you, Greg.
You're welcome. It was interesting though, right?
Hey, it's something that's on the top of my mind every day.
Short-term rentals, in case you didn't know it, I am a realtor. I have been a realtor for 25 years. My family had a summer resort for 50 years, which I managed for 25 years from the age of 18 up to 43. But I think I have a very good background and expertise in it. I did attend 3 of the planning subcommittee hearings and listen to the people in the audience, what they had to say, and most of it was positive. I think short-term rentals brings not only an economic boost, but a needed service, because we are short for rooms for 3 months of the year, and we have too many rooms for 9 months of the year, and it's been like that forever. There was some concern about problems with short-term rentals. I asked Zach, the planning commissioner, how many complaints he had in 2015. He said 4. Okay, I contacted 50 short-term rentals. To me, that equates to about 2,500 days a year where you could have a problem. So 4 out of 2,500 days I don't think is a problem that needs to be addressed. Most of the landlords I talk to are very aware of the neighbors. Most of the complaints that were perpetuated were dealt with noise, garbage, parking, and fireworks, which are already addressed by our public safety ordinances, and I just don't feel putting on another layer of bureaucratic ordinances and rules and regulations, and plus I don't think it's enforceable. I think what it would take, it wouldn't work very well.
Leon.
I'm actually quite happy with the work the Planning Commission's been doing on this issue. I think it's not a lot of bureaucratic layering. It's basically a registration and an information item they're going after now. And I think it'd be very important for whether it's local law enforcement or any other, the neighbors, any community members that might have a problem, to be able to contact these people. I mean, that's just a basic, simple form that should be available to anyone, because a lot of the houses are being bought by people, I mean, that might be from Georgia, that might be from Texas, and if there's issues, who do you get a hold of? Well, this, part of that Planning Commission's plan was to make that a priority. And I think it just lets us know what's going on out there. Because it is I've been a new trend for quite a while now. I'm sure Greg's aware, would agree with me that a lot of the houses in Charlevoix they come up for sale. They're being bought by people downstate, out of state, California, I mean, everywhere. And I see it in our neighborhood. They're coming to Charlevoix they've got the means. They can buy that house and spend 5-6 weeks a year there, and without any problems at all. So that's just something that's going on in the economy right now. You can't stop it, but it'd be I think it'd be good to have a basic set of rules that easily transferred to anybody that's involved.
And to Scott.
I believe the current short-term crunch is because of the improvements out of the concrete plant. I have been approached many times. I have a second home here in Charlevoix, and I had a waiting list of 9 people. And that didn't even count the people from the concrete plant, which they started coming into. As far as the bureaucratic part of having these short-term rentals, I truly believe there should be a registration. All the same reasons Leon said. How do you know who owns them? And another thing too, when people are renting out rooms, I think there should be somewhat of an inspection. Basic fire egress, I mean, just to be able to get out of the room. So I don't really see that as a big issue. But the main thing is a registration, knowing who has those homes and where they are.
I did want to offer Aaron a chance to.
I appreciate
Yes.
the
Very,
opportunity.
very quickly, right?
Yes.
Because there was a miscommunication about
I support.
Yeah.
No, I'll keep it short. I think the planning and zoning did a great job on that. It'll be great to know just how many are in our community, the economic impact of those, and also maybe how we can market the amount we have to bring more tourism into Charlevoix. I think the registrations will be a great thing.
Thank you. So next question will go to Greg first, and then work down the table. This is a question from the audience, from an audience member prior to the forum beginning. The audience member asks, "What do you know about the city losing its primary airport entitlement?" I believe the audience member is referring to the essential air service money for Charlevoix Airport. And if I could frame it in a way, could you speak to the airport's importance to the area, maybe, and how you might work as a member of City Council to either help the airport regain that funding, or how do you see the airport's role in the future of the city of Charlevoix? How would you try to approach it?
That's one of those questions that stumps someone, so. The airport, I don't know anything about the grants being curtailed or canceled or whatever, but I know the airport is important to the community. And something that probably I should learn a little bit more about, but I figure that the airport manager and the FAA probably have more oversight and effect on that than I do. That's just one of those, unfortunately, a subject that I don't have an opinion on, which is rare.
Leon.
As far as the grant funding, or lack of it, losing of it is concerned, I wasn't privy to everything going on out there, but I know there was problems with the prior manager in one of the charter services, and I think that caused actions from being taken that would have secured the grant money. I also want, if I'm correct, that lots of times that grant, we'd get this $1 million grant, but you can only use it for certain things. And so if you had no plan on using it, it was not a big consequence. It was like sitting there, but everybody knew they weren't going to use it. Now, if there's plans to use it, well then yes, of course, there's big consequences. And the second part of the question, yes, of course, the airport's very important to this community. I got a chance to tour it early on when I was on council, and I can't remember the numbers, but it was amazing how many flights are in and out of that place, and how much cargo leaves that airport to go to the island. It was, I wish I had the numbers in my head. It was really amazing. But we can be very proud of that airport. They're not making them anymore. So if you got one, you better take care of it and make the most of it.
Thank you, Scott.
Being the airport person, I try to get as much as I can in this short time. This airport was one of 3 in the whole national system that was a small airport with a large airport grant. And that was because of the passengers that travel from here to Beaver Island, 10,000. That is the main reason I came here, was to be involved in that. It's sad that it was gone, and to be totally honest with everyone, it was the way the carrier was treated. And I'm not gonna sit and waste that much time on that. But I truly believe that that grant could come back. But you have a customer that's recording their numbers, getting you $1 million a year. I think that customer is pretty important. And that was one of the biggest issues I had when I started that job. Right now, it's $3 million that we have lost as a community. And because of the carrier out there, I believe the total is about $12 million all these years. So we've already lost 3. And it's sad. The airport is a huge generator to this community. There was a study done by the state of Michigan probably 4 years ago that estimated $22 million was an impact to the area because of the airport.
I as well do not know very much about the grant out at the airport, what we've lost, what we had that we lost. Since I've been on council, that I haven't been too engaged in that aspect of the airport. I've had an excellent time as well. I was on the tour Leon was on, and learning more about the airport has been a wonderful experience. It's a gateway into our community. It, is a unique highway, if you will. It brings in a whole different demographic of people to our community that, we're one of few that have that. So I appreciate the airport and enjoy learning more about it as every year I'm on council.
I think so. This question will go to Leon and then move down the table. What is one of Charlevoix's success stories, and how will you seek to build on that for the future? So what goes right? We've spent some time tonight talking about things that might be wrong with city politics or city government. What's one thing that's working, that's going right, and how will you seek to enhance that quality or enhance those successes?
Okay, I would say definitely the formation of the DDA, and everything is done to going into its current transformation to Main Street. But that, when there was 8, 9, 10 empty stores downtown about 20, 25 years ago, that the reconstruction of the harbor in the park was just phenomenal for this town. I mean, when people visit our downtown, that's what they'll talk about when they go back home. So I think, we lost a lot of industry. There's nothing we can do about that. Everybody lost a lot of industry. But I think just the cooperation of the local government and the chamber and the downtown business people to try to keep that area active has been impressive.
So Scott.
Success story. I grew up on this lake, spent as much time as I could as a kid. My parents had a place, so I was very familiar with the area. But then I went away for a few years. When I came back, I was just blown away by the marina. I think the marina is, and everybody I bring here says the same thing, what a beautiful marina it is. And the Venetian Festival. I mean, I know the Venetian had problems years back, but so many people know this town because of Venetian and the marina. Now the airport, I think I've talked enough about that, but this airport also, all the people that come in here, it's just really amazing.
I think we all agree you can't say enough about the marina. I mean, you can get anywhere in the world from Charlevoix and return to Charlevoix from anywhere in the world. More recently, though, Main Street, I think, is the biggest success story. The bringing Main Street to Charlevoix, making it a Main Street community, and the growth we've seen with that, the way it's built a group of volunteers, what they've accomplished has been just a fun experience. It was fun being on the group that went out and brought Main Street to Charlevoix, and it's been fun seeing it grow and what it's done in 2 years. It's been great.
And to Greg.
Well, I think we have a consensus. Main Street has probably been the most successful thing, along with the marina. My only regret is Boyne City embraced Main Street about 10 years ago, and I get tired of hearing how Boyne City's kicked our butt and everything else, so. But I'm glad we're on the right path. I think that, along with encouraging some younger people and into town and aiding them with their businesses and supporting them, has been wonderful too. I'm very happy to see younger people, starting out and adding some energy to the town. I also think we can't miss mentioning our library, which is, according to an librarian congressman was given a report, said it's the nicest library east of the Mississippi, which I agree. And I think when people come to town and I'm showing them around, I say you have to stop at our library, and they come back and they just can't believe it. But the marina too, I mean, our downtown harbor is unique probably in the world. People from all over say, man, this is something else, and just to sit down there and look out. I don't know if we can do any more to enhance it, but it is something that we kind of grow accustomed to and don't appreciate. But it certainly is a wonderful addition, and we should promote it more.
So this question goes to Scott first then. So if you are elected for a term on the city council, how will Charlevoix be different after your term on the council? Or how will the voters have known that you have been as successful as a member of the council? What kind of metric or measurement can you give to say, my term will have been successful if Charlevoix will change this way or can achieve something?
Well, I would go back to the airport. Get the airport back, the primary status, and improve it. That is my biggest thing. And another thing, being semi-retired, I don't have any business interests here in town, so I wouldn't have to worry about any conflicting issues. But let the city government do their job. That is my biggest thing. Being on the inside, being on the outside, I attend probably 80% of city council meetings, and I just think that the city, we have great people, and I think we're very fortunate. I have to say something about the city manager, Mark, right now, because I've seen a few of those, and allow the people to do their jobs.
Thank you. To Aaron.
Well, I think after these 2 years go by, my hope would be that the community sees a increase in our vibrancy downtown, and just positivity in the press, positivity in the community's attitudes, the way we interact, the way we engage each other, and the way we make progress. That would be my goal. To everyone, to Greg's point earlier, hates to hear about what's going on in Boyne City. They embraced Main Street earlier, and they have a positive group that really works together. That would be my goal, to reach that.
Yeah. To Greg.
I'd have to agree with that also. I think Charlevoix's city council has developed a poor reputation as being dysfunctional. When I have people from East Jordan ask me what's wrong with the city council, why are they always bickering, I don't have an answer for them. I think there's more important issues to take care of. And after I left, I would like to say, people say, Charlevoix is a positive place. People want to go there to live. People want to go there to start businesses. And people want to actually run for city council because it's an enjoyable experience instead of an unenjoyable experience.
To Leon.
I've seen a lot of things accomplished the 4 years I've been on council. A lot of good things involving restructuring, like the fire department, EMS. A lot of changes in job descriptions in organization, which I credit to our current city manager, Mark. He's been doing a very excellent job. My next 2 years, I have no idea if anything will improve, but something I'd like to see happen. I'll let you know. I've probably the 4 years I've been on, the most complaints I've heard about this city involve zoning and/or lack of and/or gray areas. And it's from individuals that want to know why their neighbor did this. And you know, sometimes you try to check it out for them and you run into things like there's something on this issue on page 13 and there's something else on page 57 and they conflict. So I'm going to push council this next 2 years to agree with me and have this looked into and maybe improved.
Thank you. Next question goes to Aaron first. This is a question from an audience member who asked, why doesn't the city move the city maintenance property on Ferry to another location, as the current location of the city maintenance property on Ferry would be suitable for development and an attractive addition to Ferry Beach. So position on moving city maintenance property on Ferry to somewhere else so that it could be redeveloped and made for other purposes. Aaron first.
Great question and great point, audience member. It's something we're looking into. It's been discussed. It's no doubt that not only is that a great area that could potentially be, development and value to the city, is that our facilities are outdated and can be improved on. We could be much more functional if we brought some of these facilities together, put them in the same house, let them work together a little more closely. So I think in the future, and hopefully near future, you will see that.
Great.
Actually, a few years ago, Mike Spencer asked me to look into the Ferry Beach Road Maintenance Department to see what the possibilities are for development. And I took a look at it, talked with several developers, and they thought, that's really not a great piece of property to do a development on. My idea was that move the street department and the electric department together at one site and take what's currently the road department, make that a parking lot, and then take some of the parking lot from Ferry Beach and turn it into recreational property, add some more volleyball courts or whatever. I know the people up on the bluff there would appreciate a parking lot there instead of a 3-story condominium, despite the money it would bring to the city coffers. And I thought they could go together out by the airport and the ball fields in one facility, but then we have this discussion about workforce housing, and then I thought, well, shoot, why don't they just move the electrical department and the street department out to the city dump behind the new Chris gas station, and that property there out by the airport could maybe be worked out with the private investors to do some affordable housing or whatever. That's just what my thoughts were on that.
To Leon.
Oh, this is an issue that's been worked on for quite a while, and it's getting close to fruition. There's been a sinking fund that's growing to a sizable amount. So we're getting close to having money to work with this. I personally, as far as the property on Ferry goes, I'd like to see it go back on the tax roll because I think it would be very valuable property. I understand the neighbors up on the bluff may not be too happy about it. Maybe there could be some kind of height limit put into effect with the cell. I'm not sure about any of that. As far as the new location, that's probably going to get a little political because it's. I agree with Greg. What he just said is they're talking about putting it in second ward. Isn't a ward for residences? Meanwhile, we do have that property he mentioned out by the new Chris gas station right behind it there. And there's a number of reasons I'd like to see it out there. I'm not going to go into it at all right now, but probably the main thing is you're on a U.S. highway, so you're going to get some help with any kind of deterioration of that road because of all the traffic as compared to, who's going to pay if it's on Carpenter Street, and what's going to happen to the neighborhoods if it's on Carpenter Street.
And lastly, to Scott.
I think it's a great idea. About 3 or 4 years ago, there was talk of combining the electric and the street department, and I think that is still in process. But it makes sense to just put those together out near the airport because of all the noise and the lack of housing out there. But I think that's been delayed because of all this infrastructure project. I have a home on Alice and on Upright, and last year that was completely torn up and it ended up being beautiful. And now I know there's stuff downtown that's being done, and I know that's delaying part of it too. But no, I believe there needs to be a new street department building.
Thank you. So this first question goes to Greg. A number of you tonight have talked about workforce housing, zoning issues. Other people brought up the need to pull in young families and younger people. I wonder if you could speak to how you would address those issues as a member of the council, both to bring in young people and young families, the need for additional workforce housing, how you might focus on that or push the city to face those challenges. First to Greg.
First of all, I don't really care for the term workforce housing. You know, it sounds like you got housing for workers and housing for non-workers.
Affordable housing.
Affordable housing, entryway housing.
There we go.
It's very difficult to come up with affordable housing nowadays. Building costs are $150 a square foot. We have a desirable community, as Leon said. People are willing to come here and pay premium for location. I think the city could aid in this. I don't think the city can go out and build housing on its own. I don't want the city to be managing housing or in the real estate business competing with me. But I think they can help developers, and I've talked to several developers. We've been trying to build apartments, but you know, they come in and say, can you find renters at $1,100 to $1,400 a month? And there aren't that many people earning, our workforce people aren't earning enough money to pay $1,100 a month. But they could help. You know, there's talk of small houses. You could do some zoning tweaks or areas, like I said, out at the electrical department. You could zone that for small houses. You can make lots smaller so there's more density. If somebody's building apartments, you could require 500, 600 square feet instead of 950 square feet. And instead of 8 units an acre, you could have 10. I mean, just those little tweaks make it, make it viable for an investor to go in and do something and actually make some money for his efforts. I mean, we can't expect people to go out and build housing and then lose money. Okay, I'm not that good a salesman.
To Leon.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much local government should get involved in this area. I mean, I don't think it's like the movies. I don't think it's, if you build it, they will come. I think, you know, what we need to focus on is jobs or employment, businesses that are going to offer that kind of salary or wage where someone can buy or build a house. When you get to that point, then you'll see the market take care of the situation. But to just say you're going to build, I'm not following the logic there.
To Scott.
As far as housing, we live the double-edged sword. There's a lot of very expensive homes which are good for a lot of us. Unfortunately, that raises the value of everything to where you can't have many smaller homes. We're talking city here. I think some type of partnership with the townships and the surrounding area possibly. But the city, we're kind of choked. And the biggest thing about getting more of those better paying jobs, I think the city really needs to reach out to businesses and really explore bringing in those higher paying jobs.
I agree with that, and a lot of what these three have said, in city council getting involved in developing houses, that's not going to happen, nor should it. Now, getting new businesses to our community, and what you said, the families is the big thing that we need to work on. How do we go out and target these new industries as a community to bring families back and encourage them to bring in their employees, offer new careers to individuals that are in our community, and bring higher paying jobs to Charlevoix.
Thank you. So this question goes to Leon first then. So what's the biggest challenge facing Charlevoix in the next 5 to 7 years?
Nothing pops into my head. I'm one of those rare people that are actually happy to live in Charlevoix. I think we're doing very well. I think our government's run very well. We're taking care of our infrastructure. We got a beautiful city. We got good schools. All we got to do is maintain what we got.
Scott?
Getting back to recruiting companies to move in. I know there's a lot of empty buildings. I constantly hear how the high school enrollment is way down. I think there needs to be a concerted effort because those are the economic generators for the community, and I think more time should be spent on that.
Sorry.
No worries. No, yeah, I agree. I'd be stretching to find any new problems we'll face in 5 to 7 years. We have an exceptional community. The people that live here, the businesses that are here, it's the best place anyone would want to be. Just working on that issue we have currently of bringing families to Charlevoix is the concern I have.
And Greg?
Could you repeat that question?
The biggest challenge facing the community in the next 5 years or so?
Well, I think we will have a challenge in the next 5 to 7 years and beyond. I think the problem with the city is our geography is a blessing and a curse. We're kind of like stuck here on this little narrow area, and at some point, there's not going to be any land left in Charlevoix to develop. We won't be able to expand. I think the biggest challenge for us in the next few years is to reach out to the adjacent townships, especially Charlevoix Township, and enter in with them on some mutual, projects or agreements, perhaps. I mean, the fire department thing was a start. I think we need to get a recreational district together and all think about Charlevoix, not just as a city, but start thinking about Charlevoix as a community, not just the city. We don't stop at the city limits. And I think that's going to be important because if we don't do something to expand the tax base or join forces with the township, it's going to get real expensive to live here. Look at your utility bills, look at your taxes. I mean, it costs money. And if you've got 10 people here and we keep doing more and more stuff, people are just going to have to chip in more. And I don't hear people saying they want to pay more for utilities and services and taxes.
Thank you. Well, we are rapidly approaching our time here, and so I wanted to give, starting with Scott, whose next turn it is, to allow the candidates a few minutes to make a closing statement here before we wrap up the forum. So starting with Scott and then moving to Aaron.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the chamber because I was a last-minute entry here. I had a conflicting schedule, and I think this is a great outlet to get your points across. I need to comment, and you've brought up Boyne City a few times, and all the great things Boyne City has done. I just have to say something about their city hall. I don't know how many people have picked up on that, but I mean, for all the good things they've done, why would they build City Hall, right? That'd be like us building City Hall in East Park. But anyways, I thank everybody for being here, and there's probably a lot of things. I want to make sure anybody wants to know about the airport, Monday morning, 10 a.m., City Hall. If you want to know more about it, because it is quite an economic generator.
To Aaron.
Again, I'll thank everyone for coming out tonight. It's been an honor sitting on City Council the last 2 years, working with the council we have. I think we have accomplished a lot of great things. I think we have worked together pretty well. There's been a few instances where there was disagreement, but I don't think that's unhealthy. I want to also just stress that to not just citizens of the First Ward, but I'm a representative of the First Ward. If any citizen from anywhere in the the city, the township has an issue, they're not getting represented, they want to, talk about an issue. My door's always open, my phone's always on. I encourage anyone to get a hold of me, and I'm sure everyone would agree in that. And let's all work together for a positive Charlevoix and just keep moving forward.
Great.
I agree. I'm excited about where Charlevoix's gone in the last few years, and I'd really like to add my skills and my experience in the community. I think I have some relationships from my past experience. If some people don't know, I've been a volunteer fireman for 25 years, a substitute teacher, coach. I've been president of the board of realtors. I've been involved in all kinds of political escapades, to say the least. And I think that I could do something to bring a little positive, or just continue the momentum that we've got. I love the town, and I don't want to see it go in a rearward motion, I guess. So.
And Leon.
Okay, thank everyone for being here. I mean, it's really a statement that you show interest in what's going on in this community. I was actually expecting a crowd maybe 4 or 5 times this size, so thanks for you guys. You guys got the interest. But I mean, I just want to state I don't bring any personal agenda to council other than protecting the environment. I realize I'm representing Second Ward. I'll be if I'm elected by Second Ward voters. That's what I am. I'm a representative of the people, and it seems like there's always work to be done and improvements to be made, and I'm looking forward to being a part of that.
With that, on behalf of the Charlevoix Courier and the Public Library and the Chamber of Commerce, I want to thank all of our candidates for coming here tonight and sharing their views on the issues and on city government with all of you. And I want to thank all of you for coming as well to be involved and listen to the candidates' opinions and thoughts. We do want to have about a half hour or so where members of the audience can meet the candidates, ask them follow-up questions or questions that came to mind during the forum. Please be respectful of their time. Recognize they may have lots of people they want to talk to, and so make sure that you keep your interactions short enough that other people have the opportunity to speak with them as well. Once again, I want to thank the candidates if you would join me. Please feel free to stay and talk with them. The library will be open here until 8, and then they ask us all to get out. So thank you very much. Great. Thank you. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.